Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bulk Crew podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron. Last minute cancellation. He's not going to challenge Cal Ripken Jr. for that record. At the same time, wish Mario the best of luck. We will see Mario next week, but he loves being part of the show. Just unfortunately, he's not able to join us today. We will take your comments, though, throughout the show. Again, appreciate everybody being involved, the excitement factor of the Chargers in their offseason and what they're looking for. Everybody loves to play GM, right, Josh? I mean, the way it is, people want to play GM. Also want to remind you to please subscribe and like the show. You guys know the rules. I hate the fact that I have to say it every damn show, but at the same time, not enough people follow instructions. So here's the deal is we're talking about the draft, getting ready. We're about, Josh, at least 6 weeks away from this thing. And things are going to change. All of a sudden, guys that you never heard of are going to go up the board. Obviously, in Indianapolis, that the combine's going, and you're hearing different stories here and there, and then what do guys do? The number one guy, though, that you're hearing over and over again is not Travis Hunter exactly. You're hearing Abdul Carter, to the point that the Titans could be trading him, saying, you know, do we trade that first pick out and give another team an opportunity to grab him? Maybe a team that, let's say, even like the Cleveland Browns, who said we're going to trade Myles Garrett, and say we're going to get the next Myles Garrett by getting that pick. Okay. And at the same time, you look at other teams that feel maybe they're close, or the New England Patriots, who already have a quarterback, maybe they try and make that move up. Well, yesterday there's big news that comes out that Abdul Carter all of a sudden has a stress fracture in his foot, and it looks like he's going to need surgery, and it's going to be out at least 8 weeks. And right away I start receiving phone calls in this direction. You tell me what you think. Oh, man, how much money did he just cost him? Man, how far does he draft? Would you dare touch a guy like that? So right off the top of your head, and we all know he's an outstanding football player, does that basically push you away from saying, I'm not going to not only take him at number one, but I'm going to stay away from him in the first round?
Stay away from him in the first round? Who
That's
said
the call
that?
I got last
Did
night.
Matt Millen tell you that?
Matt Millen didn't tell me that. Somebody you know, but I'm not going to say his name on the show.
He doesn't know anything. Okay, that's what I think about that person. If you have the number one pick in the draft, a guy that's head and shoulders above everybody else, you turn on the film, right? And you watch a lot of film. You see this guy just jumps off the screen. That's how good Abdul Carter is. But you're not going to take him because he has a stress fracture in his foot. I don't buy that. If it's the 22nd pick, right? We have a couple guys it's coming down to. One guy's hurt, one guy's not. I'm taking the guy that's not hurt. But if I have the number one pick in the draft, the top player in the whole draft, I'm taking him. What do you do?
I do the same thing what you're saying. I mean, we're talking 8 weeks. We aren't I don't know what injury in my mind would be that's a deal breaker. Maybe a torn ACL.
Achilles, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's Achilles, then no. But anything else, I'm taking him.
I mean, when they say it's an 8-week injury, okay, it's February. What are we talking about here?
Exactly.
The season doesn't start till September. I don't understand. And then as I pushed back to this person who's an NFL fan and is all into the draft, says to me, oh, you would still take a chance? Basically you're crazy. And I'm like, it's an 8-week injury. Like if this injury happened in August, you would still say, well, hey, he's going to be back for the playoffs, let alone to say you're going to throw away his entire career over a stress fracture. I don't understand. Here's the deal. I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea what's going on. Also, I can tell you modern medicine has changed a lot from people who were watching football in 1984 to sit there and compare it to any other injury that you've heard or seen in the past. Actually, the person he compared it to was Bill Walton. Remember when Bill Walton went to the Clippers and they had to fuse his ankle to his shin? And I'm like, dude, that was 40-something years ago. Modern medicine has come a long way, and I would not run from Abdul Carter in this situation.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Kenneth Grant, a guy that's been rumored to be the Chargers' first draft pick, has a hamstring strain. I'm also not running away from Kenneth Grant because when I watch Kenneth Grant play, he's great. These guys are great. Football, it happens. Guys get injured. There's life. You have guys that are, squatting 400 plus pounds a couple times a week. You don't think guys are going to, strain things and get hurt every now and then? It happens. I would not run away from Abdul Carter. I'm not running away from Kenneth Grant. Nothing of that nature. Even the combine itself, I don't know how much I buy into guys running and jumping. Like I would care more, Dave, for the interview process, right? How smart are they? Can they look at a playbook? Can they memorize the plays? You hear all the crazy stories about Jamarcus Russell and the opposite of that with Andrew Luck. Have you heard the story of the 18 plays with Andrew Luck? I don't know. People here probably haven't heard this story. John Gruden says, hey, I'm going to give you 18 plays. It's, I think, 3 plays on 6 sheets or 6 plays on 3 sheets, whatever it is. I'm going to leave this room for 15 minutes. I'm going to come back. You're going to show me how many of these plays you remember. And he said, please. He said, don't play with me. He said he leaves the room, comes back. Andrew Luck draws up all 18 plays and not even a problem. He said with most quarterbacks, he does the same thing, right? With everybody. He said they'll be lucky to get 2 out of the 18 with the correct formations where everybody's lined up. And Andrew Luck was just like, no problem at all. So, I mean, I would care more to see how smart somebody is if I ask them rapid questions, but a strain, come on.
Well, also look at the position. I mean, I don't care if Abdul Carter can't figure out where he parks his car every time he goes to the store. I mean, his position is just get to the guy with the ball as fast as you can, right? Get to that guy. I mean, it's easy to figure out how much film do you have to watch if you're Abdul Carter. You're looking at the guys that basically going to block and go, what numbers the quarterback wearing this week? It is one of the easiest positions that translates to me in the NFL from college to pro. We talk about how running backs, that kind of position as well. But you're talking about a guy that, you know, when you watch him in college, you're going, this guy's just too good for college football. Like, this guy needs to go to another level. We've seen guys in the past, by the way, that go into these situations right before the draft, and basically they're supposed to go higher up, and then teams run away from them. I'll give you an example. It'd be before you even remember, or maybe even born. Warren Sapp was a guy that, he's going to go crazy high. Then all of a sudden he tests positive on a marijuana, test, and he drops to, the Buccaneers, and guess what? Where are you going up in the Hall of Fame? So because the guy got high, that all of a sudden that was the difference. I mean, this is the NFL. We see that rap sheet all the time about which teams have the most guys arrested. And Warren Sapp, all of a sudden, we're going to make a stand. And so that guy might be a little dangerous. Well, he ended up right in the goddamn Hall of Fame and won a Super Bowl. And so then we look at Larry Tunsil, who did that crazy move where he put the helmet on his head and got really high, and then look at Larry Tunsil. He's one of the best left tackles in football, right? How many teams would love to have him? And so you sit there and you go, okay, what are your standards? As far as you trust your team doctor to look at him and go, unless that foot is literally falling off his body, dude, I don't think he moves at all. I think you go ahead, and if you thought he was the number 1 overall pick, you go ahead and you make that trade up to go ahead and get him if that's what you thought he was before you heard about the stress fracture.
Absolutely. Tyrann Mathieu, right, with the Chargers. He smokes weed. We can't draft him. Can he play safety? Like, come on, what are we talking about? Ricky Williams.
Ends up being defensive player of the year, right?
Dude, Ricky Williams was bringing a bong into the huddle, but he was scoring on those plays. So it's like, who cares, man? Let's just get the guy that can play football. That's all I really care about. Real quick, Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz. Did you see this whole thing? Are you familiar with the story?
Explain it to me, because I tried to read up on it and I was so lost. All I know is Starbucks was involved and Jordan Schultz went after Ian Rappaport.
He got mad at him about something that he said about Matt Stafford. And he said, I need to talk to you. And Ian Rappaport said, no, you don't. And he said, yeah, you do. And then Ian Rappaport called like the NFL security. But who cares, right? It's such a dumb little story. The funny thing is they were inside of a Starbucks in Indianapolis. Do you know who Jordan Schultz's dad is?
No way.
The former CEO of Starbucks.
That's hilarious.
It's causing problems in his dad's old house. But the whole thing was just super funny that I just imagine Ian Rappaport getting into it with somebody, but it made me laugh. The big news that came out yesterday was the NFLPA grades. It's the 3rd year that they've done these NFLPA grades. Did you have a chance to look at them at all?
Yeah, I love this stuff. I love all this stuff right here where players get a chance to speak their mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's great. The Chargers did pretty well compared to years of the past. You could see that the Chargers put a lot more money into the resources, the facility, caring for the players, and it showed on this year's report card. 6 coaches got A+. All these coaches are guys that I would have guessed players liked, but a couple of them are a little surprising. The 6 coaches are Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris, Kevin O'Connell, Andy Reid, Dan Campbell, and Mike McDaniel. Their players love to play for them. All got A+. The bottom 3 coaches, who all received C's, were Matt Eberflus, Doug Peterson, and Kevin Stefanski. Do any of those names surprise you either on the good list or the bad list?
Mike McDaniel, it surprises me a little bit. I mean, I think he's to me, he's a unique guy. I like him. I know a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like the way he dresses. A lot of people don't like the way he acts. I'm a fan. Like, I kind of like to see that high grade right there, and so for anyone who's not a Dolphins fan, or if you're a Dolphins fan, I guess you could decide to say, I don't like that guy. We got to get him out of here. Remember what the Miami Dolphins were. I mean, the Miami Dolphins went a long time without having success. Basically, since Dan Marino's been gone, the Dolphins aren't a team anybody talks about contending. And so with, their offense is fun to watch. We said on the show a few years ago that they're right up there with the Lions as the most fun team to watch in football because their offense was always exciting. I've never been a Dolphins fan. I've never been to Miami, but I'll tell you right now, I kind of root for them on the side a little bit because I like what they have.
Yeah, they seem like a fun team. I'm surprised though too that Mike McDaniel's players give him an A+. I feel like he could rub a couple guys the wrong way. Pause. One ownership got an F, and I know you know the answer to the question, but would you guess that the Jets would be the only team to get an F in ownership?
Yes. Actually, so here we go. Let me give the bottom grades out. Okay, so let's go D to F. Okay, the Buccaneers got a D+. All right, the Steelers got a D. The Patriots got it. Yeah, some of these are kind of might be surprising a little bit. Patriots received a D. Cardinals D-. Doesn't surprise me. A lot of times when teams aren't successful, none of this surprises you. Panthers D-, and the New York Jets, of course, are the one team that got the F. What I thought was going to be there before I even looked, if you asked me to guess, I would have guessed the Chiefs were going to be in there as far as a D or an F, because when that report came out a year ago that the Chiefs had the worst facilities in the entire NFL, when you have bad facilities, that comes down to an owner not thinking it's worth it, right? I mean, we've seen the story about the Hunt family having basically a 3-story house inside of Arrowhead Stadium. It's amazing to watch. You're going to take time to build a house, not only a house, but a 3-story house inside that stadium, but you aren't going to give the players what they need or what other players around the league are receiving. Not a good sign. It shows you're obviously selfish. Look, Andy Reid has done a great job, and they have Patrick Mahomes and everything else. But for the Hunt family to be known as, I guess, cheap, you could say, or to basically dismiss the players that are winning championships for you, it's kind of embarrassing. So I thought the Chiefs were going to be a team that was going to be in the D category. Again, a C- is nothing to brag about, right? I mean, it sounds like Tommy Boy, they don't just hand those out. I mean, here's the deal. C- is not a great grade that you're proud of. But I tell you, overall, that one, the rest of that list didn't surprise me. I love the fact that the Chargers graded well. And maybe other people don't care, but a lot of people who never talk about the Chargers, and I mean, talk about it like on a national level, and especially because they haven't won a Super Bowl, but also they're in a market with a team with, a quarterback that is the topic of the offseason and possibly getting traded, and the Rams have a history. I love the fact that the Chargers had a high grade out there. To me, it was a big deal that the Chargers were at the top of this list as far as Dean Spanos doing everything he can to give Jim Harbaugh and his guys the best opportunity to feel comfortable and win.
Yeah, Chargers did great. They went from 30th last year to 5th this year, the biggest jump, I believe, out of any team, which is amazing. But they didn't do great in every category, and I see it right here. I'm going to throw up Richie Farley's comment. Chargers got a C- for family treatment. Family treatment. Kind of interesting. And then Mike G says, I think Harbaugh doesn't like the kids and wives hanging around the facility. Do you have any insight on, being you're a guy that's been in a facility a lot of times in the locker room?
A lot.
Do you think it would piss off players if Jim Harbaugh said, "Hey, it's work time. We don't need kids here"?
Okay, in this sport, to me, yeah, that's how I kind of feel. Like everybody does something right throughout the day, whether you work in a cubicle or you drive a truck or whatever your job is during the day. How often do you actually bring your kids to work? You see what I'm saying? Like, dude,
Yeah.
you're there to do your job. Like the UPS guy, I've never once driven by a UPS truck and seen a kid on the other side with that door open too. You know what I mean? It's it's not like that. I don't know anyone brings your kid to their cubicle. And you know what happens if you are that guy that brings your kid to work, even if it's bring your daughter to work day, everyone else in the office is irritated. Nobody likes it. They all act, she's so cute, so great to have her. But at the same time, it's annoying because that's the kid that's wandering over, taking stuff off your desk, sitting there stapling your shirt to your paper. And you're going, this isn't fun at all. And if I'm Jim Harbaugh and this is a job about detail and it's a job about being physical, I'm not a big fan of bringing guys, kids and families onto the field on a regular basis. I might be in the minority on that. I guess if you're a player, you want to sit there and share their experience. They're paying you a lot of money to basically focus. And it's not, we talk about full-time jobs. What are guys doing right now? I mean, they're basically healing, working out, getting better, but they have time off. How many of us have that amount of time off? We don't. That's not the way the world works. The only two sports to me that feel like you could go ahead and bring your family around and they should have a family room and all that stuff is baseball and the NBA. And I know the Dodgers do a fantastic job with the family room. You hear free agents talk about it all the time, the way the Dodgers treat their families. Look, I've been around the Chargers as a media member for more than 30 years, and none of that surprises me, by the way, Josh. Not to say that Dean's a jerk or any of that, but that's not what's important to him. It's important winning games. And I know people are going to sit there and write something back and go, well, keeping the employees happy is important. You know what's important? Stopping a guy on 4th and 1. That's what's important. That's what you get paid to do. Catch the goddamn ball, Quentin. That's important too. I don't care if your little brother or your mom is happy or there aren't the right chicken wings that are there for them to eat during the game. That's not what's important. Charger fans care about wins. Jim cares about wins. And for me, that direction, as far as caring about wins, is what matters the most. And so overall, when I'm looking at the other guys who are doing this move where they're sitting there saying, my team got an A. Okay, fantastic. Well, what's your record on a regular basis? I don't blame Jim Harbaugh. If you were Jim, let me ask you, what would be your feeling on that? Guys bring their kids on the field.
I wouldn't be okay with it. Yeah, I wouldn't be okay with it. One of my favorite stories of all time is how Ed Ogeron got fired from LSU. For anybody that doesn't know, they won the championship with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. Next year, Ed Ogeron brings this new young girlfriend that he has to practice and lets her, her kids do the bag drills with the linebackers. And the athletic director's like, Ed, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, come on. And he's like, no, it's not. Come on, dude. We're trying to get better here. We can't have 8-year-old kids doing bag drills with the LSU linebackers. I wouldn't be okay with it. I know Jim Harbaugh's not going that far, but for me, it'd be a problem. And in the NFLPA grades, they listed a couple of the negatives Chargers got. Obviously, the family treatment was a C-, but parking passes for home games was an issue, I guess, for Charger players. And then the travel schedule, the Charger players had a problem with that as well. So parking passes and the travel schedule were negatives. What? It seems like you have something to say.
100%. Like the parking pass thing, you got to take care of these guys. I'm sorry. Like there needs to be a lot. You're charging $150 to park your car to the fans that are going to SoFi. Dude, here's the deal, man. Your family needs a place to park and you need a place to park. You take care of the families on that one. That's just ridiculous. I mean, there's a running joke in sports that you could charge the parents anything you want to watch their kids play, whether it's a college game or a high school game. What are the parents going to do? I'm not going. Of course they're going to go. They're going to pay for it. This is the NFL. This is $1 billion league. I'm sorry you're going to miss a couple parking spots of your $150. You take care of the families in that situation. The travel situation, I'm always curious about the travel, especially in the Charger situation. If you're a team on the West Coast, or even Seattle, who always has the worst travel schedule because everywhere they go seems like a long flight. Man, I'm always a fan of leaving an extra day early. Now, I understand you're losing practice time for that. And knowing Jim wants all the practice time he can get and probably goes, what's wrong with you? You can't sit there and adapt to a 4-hour plane flight? Let's go. Let's focus. Let's win this game. Jim's little high strung, and I like it. I mean, by the way, where did Jim send his kid to coach last year?
Seattle, up the coast.
Yeah, he's not bringing his kid on the practice field. As a matter of fact, he's not even keeping his kid in the state. Just get the hell away from me. I got work to do. It's all focused on that.
I love Jim Harbaugh, and everybody saw him with Joe Ortiz on the Pat McAfee show, busting his nuts about getting Khalil Mack back on the Chargers. Did you see that at all?
I did. I loved it.
I loved it, dude, because I love when a coach can act like a fan, and he says exactly what we're thinking. Let's bring Khalil Mack back. We're obviously thin at edge, and he says, just sign the man, pay him. I think the Chargers 100% are going to bring back Khalil Mack after he makes those comments.
Yeah, you kind of have to. You know what I liked best about that was it let all of us know as Charger fans, what does the team think about him? What does the head coach think about him? Like some people go, dude, he's washed up. He's obviously on the decline of his career. He had a great year a couple of years ago. He also had that one game against the Raiders that stood out and that really padded his stats. But he didn't have the year that we wanted him to have a year ago. Also, you can claim there's injury involved in that too. But overall, I love that Jim Harbaugh's like, dude, we need him back. And so I don't know. I'm all in, and I'm sure Joe's going to get it done. I mean, what are you going to do? He literally called you out on national TV to sign him.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't do that unless they were going to sign him, right? It's going to happen.
Exactly.
100% it's going to happen. There's a couple quotes that I want to bring up from that interview. Joe Ortiz said that they were going to take the best player available in the draft. We're going to take the best player available when it comes to drafting, Ortiz said on Tuesday when asked about prioritizing positional value. Ortiz believes it's a delicate balance between all the positions. And he says, you do and you don't with different positions. Certainly, there's a value at every position, and some positions mean even more than others. Ortiz says you don't want to push a player up the draft board just because there's more value at his position. That doesn't mean anything to me. I think those are all comments that you'd expect from a GM. I don't know, man. Every day that passes, I do feel like tight end is less and less likely going to happen, and we're going to go more offense or defensive line. Do you have that same feeling?
Yeah, I have that feeling. I mean, here's the deal with the Chargers, and you can call it lucky or unlucky. I guess for the draft, the Chargers can make that statement, we're going to take the best player available, because there are a lot of holes. Nobody wants to hear that there's a lot of problems on your team. But we went over it the other day, and just to recap, just on the offensive side of the ball. And remember this, there are only 11 guys on the field. You don't have a tight end. You don't have a guard. By the way, you don't have another guard. You don't have a center. You don't have a running back. You don't have your tight end. I mean, probably another wide receiver. I mean, there are a lot of holes. We're only safe, basically, we feel, with both tackles and our quarterback, right? And Ladd, who's the number 2 wide receiver. He's not a number 1, but we're safe with those guys. So let's count those out. Is that 4 positions we're happy with? That we go, hey, we're as good as anybody at those 4 positions. And then you're going, okay, well, that's 7 spots. And that's just if you're going on the offensive side and you're saying we're going to the best position available. If we do the same thing on defense, not as many holes, but there are holes there too.
Yeah. When you look at the guards in the draft, a lot of them are not top ranked. I mean, we discussed it on the last show. Tyler Booker is head and shoulders from the next guard. And then you have a lot of guys that are okay. They're good players. They're going to be 3rd round draft picks. I think when you see this draft in 2025, a ton of 3rd and 4th round guards are going to be taken. I think the Chargers can get great value in their 3rd or 4th round if they want to get a guard there, or they can move up and get him in the 1st round. If Tyler Booker is available in the 1st round, I think that's a no-brainer. You got to get him. Colson Loveland had shoulder surgery this offseason. Does that scare you at all? I know we talked about Abdul Carter. He's the number 1 pick, though. Colson Loveland is not the number 1 pick. Would you shy away from somebody that's had shoulder surgery?
No, I wouldn't. Shoulder surgery, again, takes a lot longer to heal than that stress fracture, depending what it is. Anyone who's had shoulder surgery will tell you it's usually, a 6-month deal. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, you do a lot of, obviously, pushing, right? You're using your shoulders a lot in the NFL. I mean, they even have pads for it. They're called shoulder pads. They're important, so to sit there and go, it's not a big deal. But the season doesn't start until September. If my math is correct, there should be time for him to heal and be ready to go. And so, I'm excited about the draft. Here's would not surprise me if the Chargers just start trading back like multiple times to start filling up draft picks in the 3rd and 4th round, because you're hearing more and more. And we spoke about this every draft. The experts will say the draft is so many people deep. In this draft, they're saying this thing's about 10 deep before you start getting diminishing returns. Good drafts, you're getting, 14, 15 deep. And then they're saying a lot of guys that you could get in the 1st round are basically the same as the guys you'd get in the 3rd or 4th round. Well, that's a huge drop off from a normal year. So for this Charger team, maybe it's one of those, you just start stackpiling picks and go, we're really good at our job at evaluating players. And we take pride in what we do. And the guys that we usually pick in the 3rd or 4th round, we feel comfortable by sitting there stacking up and grabbing, 3 third round picks or 3 4th round picks. And then you fill in those holes a lot quicker. I mean, Joe Ortiz did a pretty good job last year.
I have faith. If they want to trade down and get a couple more 3rd round picks, I'm all for it. I think it's a great move. We talked about it last show. I'm so happy the Chargers don't have the 5th pick compared to last year's draft. Last year's draft, I really think is going to go down as one of the best drafts of all time. There's so many rookies from last year that were just insanely good from the second, of the first game. This year, I definitely don't feel that way at all. There's some Matt Stafford news that Matt Stafford and Tom Brady met in Montana. Do you think it's a possibility that he's going to be the quarterback of the Raiders?
Here's the deal, man. If Tom Brady talks to you and he played your position and he won all those Super Bowls, are you sitting there going, it doesn't mean anything, or does it mean something? It has to mean something. I don't care who you are. If Tom Brady is sitting there trying to talk you into joining his team and thinks that much of you, that he could sit there and track almost anybody down in the world to say why you should be on, our team if we can pull off a trade. It's tough to sit there and just throw it aside, So I think Stafford is going to be moved. I think basically they overplayed their cards, meaning him and his wife. and the Rams are in a situation where, we're to the point of no return. You can't come back. It sounds ridiculous to say because they were the closest team to beating the Super Bowl champion Eagles, but Stafford has about 3 years left in him. Hearing stories that the Rams are sitting there trying to do what they can for next year's draft to get ready for Arch Manning. But if they go in to get Aaron Rodgers, by the way, broke the golden rule. You never say you want a job if somebody already has the job. You might say it to family and friends, but Aaron Rodgers came out and goes, I want to play for the Rams. And if I'm Stafford, I'm like, whoa, I'm still here. Like you just cross the line as far as what players don't do. You never mess with another guy's money or opportunity. And Aaron Rodgers, of course, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him that doesn't give an S and says that. But Aaron Rodgers goes, I want to be a Ram. And it sounds like basically Sean McVay is saying, you know what, this whole relationship is coming to an end. So if you had to guess, the two teams that are the hottest rumors, Stafford going to the Giants or is it going to the Raiders?
Both really dumb organizations. So whoever's dumb enough to trade their top draft pick, I'm being dead serious. Whoever's dumb enough to trade their top draft pick for a quarterback that maybe has 3 years left, do it. I think the Raiders are a little bit smarter right now than the Giants. I think the Giants are like the dumbest organization ever. So they might do it. I don't know why you would trade for a quarterback that has 2 to 3 years left when you're the worst team in your division. Make that make sense.
Are you talking about the Giants or the Raiders? Which one?
Both teams are the worst teams in their division.
Okay. I can tell you why the Giants do it. Because both the head coach and the GM are getting fired unless they have a decent year this year. I mean, they're literally making moves. Those two guys keep their jobs, not for what's the best for the organization. They're doing it to stay employed. That's the only choice they have. They can't worry about the 27, 28 Giants. They're going, are we going to have a paycheck in 2 years is what they're looking at. The Raiders front office basically has job security. They just got hired. The Giants guys were lucky to keep their jobs this offseason. If you don't win next year, you're definitely gone. So you might as well go all in on a guy like Stafford. It's your only chance of keeping your job. Otherwise, both guys are gone. It's like, they say, what about the future? I can't worry about the future. I don't know if I'm going to be around in the future.
Yeah, okay. Where's the owner to step in and say, we're not going to do this. This is my team. You guys are ruining everything. You already let Saquon Barkley walk out the door. Now we're going to have Matt Stafford throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors, and we're still not going to win any games?
The owner is the same guy that goes, I'm not going to sleep well if Barkley goes to the Eagles or if he does well. Well, I guess you haven't slept in a year because everything that was your worst nightmare actually happened. And it happened on TV for all of us to see. Like watching the owner, who's a billionaire, pace the hallways of his own facility and then walk back into the room and go, you guys sure? And then everything went bad. It was hysterical to watch, unless you're a Giants fan. But if you're a fan, especially of the Commanders or of the Cowboys or the Eagles, and they're in your division, you had to love every minute of it. You know who else loved it? The Rooney family, the Pittsburgh Steelers loved it because they're related. Like he's sitting here going, hey, look, our family's on TV. Oh, look at that. They completely stepped in it. Worse than anyone in the history of this sport, right on national TV. When the GM son's on the couch looking at his phone, not even making eye contact, I think, Dad, we should trade up for Jaden Daniels. Oh, that's ridiculous. Shut up and look at your phone. Everything in that office went wrong, and we watched it on HBO. It was awesome.
It's crazy, man. It was insane. News came out right before the show. Trey Smith got franchise tagged by the Chiefs. It's kind of a bummer, right? As Charger fans, you were hoping Trey Smith would be a guy we'd possibly get, a really good guard. Does this affect you at all? I mean, we're going draft. You got to go draft for a guard anyway, right? No matter what.
Yeah. There are going to be other guys. The Chiefs did exactly what I thought they were going to do. Daniel Bridges says right here, if A-Rod comes to the Rams, it means we're going to lose on Devontae Adams. I agree with that. I think those two guys are basically tied together. I think Devontae Adams is going to go wherever Aaron Rodgers is. I would like to see Devontae Adams on the Chargers. The more I think about it, I would. I just, maybe he's not the same guy, understand it, but good route runner, decent hands. Maybe it'd help out some of the young guys that the Chargers have right now. But I think Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are basically a package deal.
Okay. I mean, I could see Aaron Rodgers going to the Rams.
Do you want Devontae Adams or Keenan Allen if you had to choose?
That's not even close. And don't make me pick against Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen's a number 3, right? He's a good number 3, but he's not number 1. Devontae Adams can make an argument that he's as good as Ladd McConkey still, and Ladd's really good. In a perfect world, we got Devontae, Ladd, and Keenan as our receivers, and then we get Loveland, the tight end, then we get a couple good guards in the draft. That's a whole new offense. That would be almost my dream scenario.
It's going to be a new offense. I mean, your dream scenario is going to come through in some kind of pieces. Everything is going to be better than what it was last year, which isn't saying a lot. Again, it's a miracle they won 11 games. But here's the deal: is as I sit there and I say these stupid lines, I think of sports movies all the time. It's like the movie Bull Durham, where he's sitting there saying, how did we win that many games? It's a miracle. It's a miracle, and that's that structured team. Like, how did they win 11 games? It's a miracle that it happened right here. It's absolutely insane. I just saw one here saying, I'm tired of Aaron Rodgers talk. I wish Aaron Rodgers would retire already. Do you find it? Okay, Randy. Here's the deal, man. I was with you too 2 months ago on this. I just want to see Aaron Rodgers retire. But why would he retire? Supply and demand. There's a demand for quarterbacks out there. He doesn't want to go out the way he went out. His last 10 games of the season weren't terrible, and there's a huge payday involved. Why would you possibly say goodbye now? If you're Aaron Rodgers, why wouldn't you keep doing it if somebody's begging you to play? Do you agree on that?
No, of course. I would play for as long as I can. I don't think he was that bad last year, Aaron Rodgers.
Honestly, look at his last 10 games or so. Not bad at all. It will look, I don't want to say it will look weird watching him in a Rams uniform if that's the case. The weirdest one of all time was Joe Namath when he went from the Jets to the Rams. I'm older than Josh, obviously, and I collected football cards. When that football card came out, it was weird looking to see green and white and then see blue and yellow. But Aaron Rodgers, nobody associates him with a Jets uniform anyway. Fine. Put the yellow pants back on. You're good to go, Aaron.
The yellow pants. Gerald Everett got released yesterday or 2 days ago by the Bears. Gerald Everett, one of the guys I really liked a couple years ago. Are you aware of what he did last year with the Bears? I'm just going to throw out. If I told you he had 1 first down in 17 games, would you say that doesn't even make sense?
It doesn't make sense, but I think that's Caleb Williams' fault in the coaching with the Bears. Like, how does that possibly happen?
1 first down and played in every game. 8 catches, 36 yards.
How old is Gerald Everett right now? I mean, I'm throwing you on the spot, but how old is Gerald Everett now? Because when Gerald Everett was with the Chargers, he obviously was valuable. Anyone compared to the tight ends we had last year was valuable.
He'll be 31 next year.
Yeah,
or this next season.
And so, he rested basically all last year. I mean, what was our biggest complaint with Gerald Everett is that he wasn't good enough shape to go back-to-back plays against the Chiefs in Kansas City, where you're just winded and it's like, I can't do it. So I'm going to half-ass it on this route, and then it doesn't go well and we lose the game. But it's Gerald Everett, I don't know, bring him in for nothing. I don't think the Chargers will. I think Joe Ortiz said goodbye to him for a reason. I don't think they will, but man, we had no tight ends last year. Our blocking tight end was our receiving tight end, except in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Mike, he says draft a tight end. Yeah, I'm all for drafting tight end. Gerald Everett in no world is tight end 1, but I think he'd be an okay backup. I like Gerald Everett. We got a comment here from JSJ. He says getting Keenan Allen and Devontae Adams would be catastrophic. I don't understand why. You wouldn't want Devontae and Keenan to go along with Ladd? I feel like that would be great. You'd have a young receiver with 2 veterans.
Is he saying they'd be a cancer? Is that what he's saying?
Catastrophic's a bad thing. I mean, he's saying it wouldn't be good to have them together.
Dude, is anybody that plays for Jim Harbaugh ever a cancer in his system, in his culture? I mean, you saw it in the interview yesterday, right? When you saw Jim Harbaugh and you saw Joe Ortiz. You saw the interview and they talked about the Charger culture, right? Kind of the Charger way. And which is weird as hell to say, but when's the last time you've heard people talk about the Chargers in that form? When Marty was here, that was it. When it was Marty ball, right? Marty had a system. But otherwise, no coach basically had control of a team or basically a program like Jim Harbaugh does. And so if they go through the interview process with Devontae and Keenan, they're like, these guys are fits here. Yeah. You know what? Keenan's one of those guys that really missed, I think, also being a Charger. I think his experience in Chicago wasn't what he expected, obviously, but he talks about coming back to LA all the time. Like, dude, there are 32 teams out there, and you're going to sit there and tell your agent, I'm only interested in playing if it's either the Chargers or the Rams. That means he actually loved being here.
Yeah, he has a house here. He's like, my house is over there. Let me go back to where I live. I mean, it makes sense to me, right? If you were Keenan Allen, wouldn't you probably want to go back?
Yes, I would. I want to be part of something that, I mean, look, he basically bled, sweat, and tears with his Charger organization. Now that all of a sudden they're a team that people are talking about, of course, Keenan wants to be part of the good years.
Yeah. Comment here saying Jonah Jackson from the Rams, the guard, has requested a trade. Do you guys want Jonah Jackson? I can find it.
I would take that. So Jonah Jackson was told by the Rams, go ahead and seek your trade. Go ahead. The Rams have done that with a few people, makes a decent amount of money, if I'm not mistaken. But I think at the same time, we need the help. Chargers have money to spend. It would be weird for a guy just to change locker rooms and play in the same stadium. But if the Chargers say, you know what, that position is that important to us, we're willing to make the move because he was told to seek a trade. Why not look at the Chargers first? You don't have to sell your home, just like you said.
Yeah, 28 years old, one-time Pro Bowler. He didn't grade out well on PFF, for whoever wants to believe PFF. He had a 67.5 overall grade, which made him the 40th best guard in the NFL out of 135 qualifying guards. Pass blocking grade, he was 82nd best guard, 59.3, and then run blocking 68.8, 39 overall.
Yeah.
So PFF doesn't love Jonah Jackson.
I have no idea what happened last year with him on why he had a down year like that. I mean, you don't want to think it's age at 28. He's fallen apart. But at the same time, there's a reason why the Rams pursued him, because he must have graded out well the years before. And then I don't know. I mean, is it effort? Is it injury? I got so much money. It doesn't matter. The wins and losses aren't a big deal for me as long as I keep getting a paycheck.
I hate that. If that's the case, you don't want him.
Yeah.
So you brought up, I'm going to go to the chat here. You brought up that Jim Harbaugh has a culture, and I agree with you. The Chargers finally have a winning culture and a culture that has an identity, right? For how many years did we have a Charger team where you didn't know what you were, right? You had Mike McCoy, and then you have Anthony Lynn, and you have Brandon Staley, and you have all these guys. You really don't know what you have in your head coach. We finally have that. This was interesting to me. Ryan Culpepper brings it up, $10.
Thanks.
Thoughts on Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Thoughts on Harbaugh's negative grades from the recent report card, specifically on Harbaugh not making use of their time efficiently and being unreceptive to team feedback. Otherwise, they had great grades.
What do you think?
Interesting, man. Jim Harbaugh does come across to me as a guy that wouldn't be the best listener just from the way he acts. But then I'm very surprised that
hence the multiple wives.
Yeah. But I'm a little bit surprised. I thought the Chargers players would grade him out at, A's across the board. Obviously, it's not the case here. Not having your time used efficiently, I would be annoyed, right, if I was on the team.
Yeah, okay. So here we go. Time efficiently. Look, Jim Harbaugh has won everywhere he's been. I mean, everywhere he's been. Places he wasn't supposed to win, he won. He won at University of San Diego, which is a small, tiny Catholic school, and yet he won. He goes to Stanford and not supposed to win. And at the time, he's in a conference with USC, which was by far the dominating team in college football, and goes and embarrasses Pete Carroll, in Los Angeles. I mean, just completely crushes him. Then he goes to the Niners, and he has success, and he goes to a Super Bowl. Really, two quarterbacks that weren't, Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Goes to Michigan, wins a national championship, goes to the Chargers 1 year, and then win 11 games. Dude, the Chargers, we just went through it, have a ton of holes. These guys, I don't think know what the hell they're talking about. Who knows what he's talking about is Jim. Maybe you guys don't know how to use your time efficiently. Maybe he doesn't care what you have to think because he already knows it all. I'm sorry, but when you're a coach and you're in charge of all those guys and it's working, why would you change something? What, Jim didn't walk up to his players enough, rub small circles in their back and say, what are you doing this afternoon? What are we talking about? We're here to win games, and that's why he was brought in. The guy's a little bit of a psycho, but he's our psycho. I mean, guy lives in a goddamn camper by the beach during camp. And he doesn't have to do that. You know how much money Jim Harbaugh has? Yeah, Jim Harbaugh is all about the team and winning games, and whatever he's doing, it's working, and it's worked his entire coaching career. I'm all for keep doing what he's doing. I don't think these players know jackass.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, Jim Harbaugh to me can't do any wrong right now. I love Jim Harbaugh. Next one comes from Ryan Culver, $3, says, Speedo fun for Dave. There you go.
I'm not wearing a Speedo. I don't think I've worn a Speedo since my mom bought when I was 5 years old. All right. And that was a nightmare. All right. That's not happening. I don't even wear that kind of underwear. Ryan, that's not happening.
If we end up with like 100,000 subscribers, what would you do for that?
Dude, I'm not going to the Speedo. God dang it. Is that where we're at now? That's where guys are at? 100,000? If you get a gold button? Yeah. Yeah.
If we get the
YouTube gold button?
I'll do it something crazy if we do that.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Crazy. All right, we got to think. We got to think about what it is. All right, who knows? Maybe I end up going that route. Are you going to stick that golden button right behind your head on that blank wall? Is that what you're holding it up for?
Yeah, I mean, if we get 97,000 more subscribers, I'll put it. Yeah, I'll put it in the front of my house, right on the roof.
Put it on the front door.
Yeah. All right. Matthew Dahl says, 199. Matthew Dahl says, still waiting on Slater extension before Mack.
Yeah, here's the deal. They're going to take care of Slater. None of that matters to me on what order things go. You never know what people's agents are doing behind the scenes. I mean, as long as both those guys are wearing Charger uniforms next year, which I fully expect, it doesn't matter to me. Neither guy is saying, "Hey, man, when I get paid, Dave, we're going to sit there and have a good time and we're going to hit a buffet and everything you want." No, we aren't going to Sizzler because Rashawn Slater is calling me to say, let's celebrate. It's not happening. All right. So I really don't care as long as they get both those guys done. I think it'll get done, Matthew. Don't stress out.
Yeah, they'll take care of them, both guys. Do you have a rant by any chance? I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
I do have a little bit of a rant. Not a major one. There's always something that bothers me, unfortunately. Like I got major issues that things just bother me. Dude, I hate to say it, and you people in the chat, I guarantee you're part of the problem too. No offense. And I know you shouldn't attack the audience, which you guys are nice enough to be here with us. But God dang it, man, everybody has ruined social media. Like, as a guy that really likes social media, like I got major problems with social media where I'm on it too much. And here's the deal. I don't do TikTok because I'm addicted to TikTok. Like, I don't do crazy things. I'm not a big drinker. I don't smoke weed. I don't do any of that stuff. But man, TikTok is my vice. And so I haven't been on TikTok in 2 years. Like, I'm the guy that goes on TikTok, and I don't know if any of you guys have gotten this message, but it will say, "Hey, you might want to go to sleep. We'll be here tomorrow." And I was like, dude, the app just told me to like get off the app. Like, it seems like no one would tell you to get out of their store if you keep buying stuff. But I cannot stop with TikTok. I'm like, the next one, and I can't stop. So literally, to break the habit, I've just gone cold turkey on TikTok. I have not been on it in 2 years. Okay. That being said, I go, the second level, I go, Instagram Reels, which aren't as good, but it's all I got. I got a problem. My problem though now is it is all over Twitter, it's all over Facebook, and it's all over Instagram. You guys have completely ruined my feed with your political views. I can't take it. It's killing me. Like, dude, when I look at social media, I look at it for a break of the stuff of the day I don't want to do or don't want to see. But man, I'm tired of getting preached at. I've never blocked anybody in my life on any kind of site, Josh. I find myself blocking at least 10 to 15 sites a day because I cannot get away from basically political views. It drives me nuts. No one has ever posted anything on Facebook where I've gone, man, that is a great point. I'm completely switching sides. Ever. Nobody wants to hear it. And think about some of the people that you let follow you or that are in your feed. Those are some of the dumbest people you actually know. You just don't want to hurt their feelings by not keeping them as a friend. But you're like, this guy is an idiot. Like, this guy's been arrested 4 times, or the guy has been arrested at Little League Day at Petco Park because he couldn't behave himself, that kind of stuff, those kind of guys. And you sit there and you just go, good God, why do you keep showing up in my feed? You are not the smartest guy on the planet. I'm sorry. If you've been arrested more than 3 times and the cops are chasing you inside your house, dude, I don't know why you're showing up. As maybe I should start listening to you. But you guys overall have ruined my fun on social media. Right now, I'm just like, all I get is puppies now. That's all I get.
Good. That's good. You can't get mad at that. Do you know what main character syndrome is?
No.
Main character syndrome is people that act like the world revolves around them. Oh, yeah. And on social media, they post things like they're giving everybody in the world advice, or they post on their story a novel. It's like, dude, nobody's going to read that, and nobody cares that you worked out today. Every day I got to take a picture. I went to the gym. Dude, I'm tired of people with MCS, as I like to call it. Just live your life, do what you can to be happy. If you need to post every single second of your day, go ahead, but I'm going to mute you, right? Because I don't need to see that. People with main character syndrome drive me nuts. And they're the same people, like you said, on social media that are telling you what you need to believe. And you need to believe this because I'm smarter than you. He goes, dude, let's just live our lives, right? Let's just try to be as happy as we can. Drives me nuts.
Last part of my rant. When you guys post stuff, can't you tell their lips aren't matching up with the words that are coming out of their mouths? Like, these are fake. Do you guys understand when the ones are AI? Like, Josh gets some of me all the time for not being good at checking sources, but this is completely different. Like, I watched one today on Bill Clinton, and we went on for like 3 minutes, and none of the words matched up with his mouth. Like, it was 100% not Bill Clinton saying everything that was being said. I'm like, this is AI generated. And I'm like, stop sending this out. This kind of stuff drives me nuts. This is where the whole news thing that you can't trust a damn thing anymore. It's bizarre.
Don't they need to regulate AI? Because it's hard to some of them are kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is that real or not real? Right? And,
Yeah,
they got to put some types of regulations on this thing.
Yeah. No, sometimes honestly, I got to grab the glasses and go, wait a second, or is it fake? Is it real?
Yeah,
kind of
AI is great.
Anyway.
I mean, I think AI is awesome. The last thing I'm gonna say about that, the new AI feature on Google, for all of you people that use Google, it's awesome, right? It gives you the answer immediately. I don't know if you've noticed that.
No, I haven't done it. I just use the GBT chat on my iPhone.
Yeah, if you go on Google and you type something in, they'll give you like an AI generated answer, which is like spot on typically, which is really good. But like all the fake stuff where people try to, get you to believe something that's not real, I hate that. I hate falling for that. All right, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we get out of here?
It's what I want to do in the shows. I want to give you guys some of what people are saying, the so-called experts on who they think the Chargers are going to take. Okay. And so, so I'm laughing at Catherine. Catherine, I saw this thing right here, by the way, today. Catherine says right here, it says, why did Epstein have a pic of Bill Clinton in a dress? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about right there. Like, I'm like, is this real? Is this fake? There's fake stuff all over the place. If you're one of those guys or people that's caught up in this whole Epstein thing, and you go, man, I hope somebody I really hate's on this list that's supposed to come out. Dude, I hate to say it. I don't think anyone's coming out of that list that actually affects your life. Like someone, a bunch of people saying, dude, I got off of social media a long time ago, and my life's been a lot better. I'm with you on this. All right, so I'm going to start giving you some things as far as picks. Here are the experts. I'm going to give you 5 of them right now. Okay, Josh? Mm-hmm. Yahoo has Colston Loveland going to the Chargers. Okay. Pro Football Network has Amarian Hampton, running back, North Carolina, going to the Chargers. The Arizona Republic has Colston Loveland going to the Chargers. I love some of these. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel has Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. You know what? I laugh about that one, but think about it. They probably have a press pass covering the Packers, right? Kind of the way it is. What do you mean? Where I got it from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. I'm sitting there doing homework.
Are you subscribed to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel?
Wait, you don't look at that first thing in the morning? See what they're talking about? USA Today has Tyler Booker, guard, Alabama, and Draft Wire has Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. Those are your ones for today.
I'd be happy with any of those. Those would be great.
Yeah, I am. I'm happy with any one of those. Every one of those, I'm fine. Everything's good. No complaints.
Yeah, good to go. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody that joined, man. I want to do a giveaway soon. So if you guys have any ideas for a good giveaway, if you have an idea for how we can get more subscribers, I'm open to anything. Just trying to grow the channel and appreciate all you guys.
If we get to 100,000, we're giving away like a car. What's the big one?
Dude, I'll do anything. If we got 100,000, I'd probably quit my job, right?
Yeah, you might be able to do this full time.
Like Mr. Beast. Nice. Just like give away money.
Maybe that's the move right there. All right, we'll let you go. Again, Mario couldn't make the show. If you're tuning in the show late, Mario got called in to actually do his real job and wasn't able to be part of the show. We're going to be back. Here we go. The schedule's going to change next week, as the plan is next Monday instead of Tuesday. Monday we're going to go. You good with that, Josh?
Yeah, I'm good. Take that off there.
John, you throw it back up there. Want to explain real quick?
What all right. Your friend is?
Your friend too. Yeah, we're so John, unless you don't know, she's actually a good friend of us, a friend of the show.
Yeah, I don't know if he's messing
I can't help you out. There's no collaboration going. Okay. That's on your own time. You're on your own on that one.
And if you don't know who this person is, do your own research.
Yeah. Tom Brady of the business, as we like to say.
Yeah, with nobody around.
So nobody around. Don't do it. Bring your kid to work day for sure. All right. So we'll be back on Monday is the plan. Again, thank everyone for obviously watching, participating on the show. Mario should be back with us next week. Please like and subscribe. As Josh says, we're looking for that 100,000 one day. That's our big step. That's where we want to get right there. So have a great weekend, everyone. We'll talk more Charger football with you on Monday. And again, go Chargers.